What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video I just wanted to go over the different perk combinations that you can get on the new exotic class items for each class. So there's 8 in each column. We're going to start with the Titan mark, but yeah, so there's 8 in each column, and they all kind of provide watered down versions of the original exotic. So if we look here, like Spirit of Assassin, finishers empowered melee final blows grant invisibility, but they don't give the health regeneration. Spirit of Inmost Light, using an ability, empowers the other 2 abilities, granting them improved energy regeneration, but it doesn't give the damage boost. So there's a bit of a trade-off to make. And as I got looking into what all these do, I realized that there's only certain combinations that are really worth running, in my opinion. So if you are a fan of my channel, you'll know that I love Syntheseps, and I'm working on a Synthesep consecration build. I have seen on some comments on my other build videos that this is a pretty common one, but obviously I'll be putting my own touches on it. So definitely check out that video because it's one of the strongest builds in the game. I love Synthos and I love Consecration. Like, I've loved Pyrogales for a while. So that build goes extremely hard. But anyways, back to this, I wanted to talk about the class items and really the only combinations that I think are even worth looking at. So with 8 in each column, there's like over 60 potential perk combinations. And the one that I have is Spirit of Severance. So powered melee or finisher final blows unleash a damaging explosion. And Spirit of the Horn, your barricade unleashes a blast of solar energy that scorches targets. It's important to note that this says your barricade and not your class ability, meaning the thruster does not unleash Scorch, which I found a little disappointing. But anyways, with that out of the way, I'm going to talk about the combinations that I do think are worth running. So first is Severance, Spirit of Severance, powered melee or finisher final blows unleash a damaging explosion. That's obviously decent. And then Spirit of Syntheseps, improved melee damage when you're surrounded. So you're wanting to get melee kills anyways to proc Spirit of Severance, and then you're doing increased damage, and then I'm not sure if that explosion will also benefit from the increased damage on Severance. So that is a really good wombo combo. One that is really good for like DPS would be Spirit of the Ophidian, where your weapon's ready very quickly if you're doing a damage rotation. And then Spirit of Star Eater, while your super energy is full, picking up orbs of power overcharges your super, granting it bonus damage. So there could be some nice synergy there. Another one that has good synergy is Abeyant Leap. Improves Dranger's Lash. Dranger's Lash projectiles track targets more aggressively and travel further. You could pair that with Spirit of the Horn, so you suspend them and then you deal Solar Scorch damage. I was actually playing around with the one I got, and enemies very easily, like higher tier enemies that won't just die to the blast of solar energy, they move out of the way of the solar energy very fast because it casts out and then back. So if you had Abeyant, it's going to suspend them and then deal that scorch damage. So that one's got pretty good synergy. Again, how strong will it be? I don't know, but I'm more looking at like just synergistic things that you could make a nice build around. Eternal Warrior and Scars is another one I have. So gain a damage bonus for weapons matching your super's element when your super ends. So that's just kind of nice. And then Spirit of Scars, final blows with weapon that have a damage type matching your super's element, create a burst of healing around you. So they both just kind of play into running matching weapons to your super, and then you're going to get healing, and then every time you cast a super, you're also going to get bonus damage. Again, not the best, but it is synergistic. Inmost Light and Armamentarium. So again, this is just giving you more abilities basically. So the more you can use your abilities, the more you're going to get your other abilities back. And this gives you an additional grenade charge. So it's just going to help you proc Inmost Light more frequently. Also, Inmost Light and Spirit of Contact, damaging a target with a powered melee, causes all nearby enemies to suffer lightning strikes and become jolted. Again, the wording on these is very important because this says with a powered melee. So I'm very curious about this one. I made my point contact cannon brace build and I love it, but it only works with Thunderclap, where the Spirit of Contact works with any powered melee. So I'm curious, does this work with Consecration? because you could run this with like Dranger's Lash and Consecration, and I don't think it's really needed, but on higher health targets that don't just outright die to your Consecration Blast, they would then suffer lightning strikes and become jolted. And then with Spirit of Inmost Light, you're going to be getting your abilities more and more. So this is one of the few that I think may actually be really good. So Spirit of Inmost Light and Spirit of Contact potentially has some really, really good synergy. And it could also work on like Shield Throw, which is very, very interesting because you could throw it from a distance, you could avoid Overshield, and then you're going to cause targets to become jolted, and you can do this from a distance with Shield Throw. So very, very interesting. I would love to see how that one works in particular, especially just Spirit of Contact, just to see how it works. But yeah, ideally, I would be able to pair it with Inmost Light. So that one's interesting. Inmost Light and Verity as well. So Weapon Final Blows with a damage type matching your grenade grant a stacking grenade damage bonus. So the thing with this is you'd probably only really want to run it with pulse grenades, maybe thermite grenades, because the rest aren't really necessarily damage supers. But again, interesting nonetheless. And then we have Bear and Star Eaters. So these feed into your super. So move faster while guarding with Unbreakable Shield. Damage blocked with Unbreakable is converted to super energy. And then while your super energy is full, picking up an orb of power overcharges your super, granting it bonus damage. So again, just really nice synergy there. And then Hoarfrost and Alpha Loopy or the Horn. So your barricade becomes a wall of stasis crystals that slows nearby targets, so that's cool. And then you could do like a fire and ice build where every time you cast that barricade, you're going to unleash solar, or you get a healing pulse back. So again, out of all those, there's some synergistic ones, but the only one I would probably consider running over a regular exotic is Spirit of Inmost Light and maybe Spirit of Syntheseps as well, or Spirit of Contact. So like Spirit of Syntheseps is very strong. That improved melee damage, it's 165% when you're surrounded, but you don't get that bonus to your super damage. But if you're just built around your melee, then yeah, that could be really strong. But for me personally, I do like that super damage that Syntheseps gives. But Spirit of Syntheseps is one of the best exotic class item perks that you can get. So yeah, there's only a couple that I would really want to go for. You could also go Spirit of the Assassin with Spirit of Syntheseps. Obviously, there's good synergy there. But I find when I'm built around my melee, especially with like the Consecration build or whatever, I'm usually not too worried about going invisible because most of the shit around me is just dead anyways. But I did just want to point those out. Again, you do you. There might be certain builds that you want to make. I'm just speaking like personally what I'm looking for, and I'm just thinking that maybe it would help you maybe realize some synergies that maybe you want to go after. So for the next one, we have the Hunter, and I'll just pull up the picture here. I like these pictures because they're a little easier to see. There you go. So there's the Hunter ones, and then I'm just gonna swap to my Hunter so that we can see what the Hunter's abilities are. Because again, some of these are strong on paper, but then when you actually look at them within the confines of Prismatic, because you can only run these exotic class items, or at least gain the benefits of the exotic class items when you're running a Prismatic subclass. So in column 1, does it say that on the class items? I'm curious now. Because I swear they said that in the patch notes, but I'm not really seeing that. This randomly, oh yeah, will only be active while a Prismatic subclass is equipped. So it does say that, but if you didn't know that, now you do. So the first one I'm interested in is a DPS one. So you've got Spirit of Foe Tracer, damaging a powerful combatant or guardian with an ability, grants you a temporary damage bonus for weapons matching that ability's element. So on regular Foe Tracer, this is a ×4 weapon surge, so 25% extra damage. So depending what you're running for like a damage rotation, this could be very, very strong. And then you could pair it, or you could run Spirit of the Ophidian, where weapons ready very quickly. Either one would be really nice for a damage phase. And then you could pair it with Spirit of the Star Eater while your super energy is full, picking up an overpower, overcharges your super, granting it bonus damage. So again, that's kind of a DPS one. A melee based one that I think a lot of people are excited about is, where is it? Caliban's Hand, powered melee final blows trigger an ignition, and you could pair that again with Synthos for the improved damage, or Spirit of the Liar, dealing damage with a powered melee or being hit by a melee attack will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee counterpunch. So Liar's Handshake are having their time in the sun right now, and for good reason. Like, I made my solo dungeon guides last season, and on a few bosses I highly recommended Liar's Handshake, but the base one gives you health back on hit, but we can see its cross counter grants 200% increased melee damage, but you don't have to be surrounded. Where with Syntheseps, you get 165% melee increase right here, but it's all the time when you're surrounded. So it really just comes down to the build and the damage rotation. Because if you're surrounded all the time, you'll actually want Syntheseps because you're getting 165% more on every melee versus every other melee getting 200%. So yeah, it's really just down to, yeah, the damage rotation or whatever. But either way, there's going to be really good synergy with Spirit of the Assassin and Spirit of Syntheseps, or Spirit of the Liar and Spirit of Caliban with Syntheseps and Spirit of the Liar. So you really can't go wrong with any of those combinations if you're building into a melee-based build, probably based around Combination Blow. So then the next thing I want to talk about is, so yeah, here's your melees. So you're pretty much going to want to stick around Combination Blow if you're running like that melee-based build. The next one I want to talk about is kind of just how crappy the Hunter grenades are. So anything Verity, I don't think is worth running on the Hunter, though I do love grapple grenades, and that's kind of like my go-to on Hunter. But yeah, basically, if you get Spirit of Verity, where is it? Right there, on a Hunter, in my opinion, it's kind of useless. But again, that's just me. So one that is very, very interesting is Spirit of Renewal. Allies inside the Duskfield take reduced damage, and targets inside the area deal reduced damage. And then Spirit of the Surturachne. Gain Woven Mail when you use your grenade. So you'll get Woven Mail and damage resistance, like Frost Armor, from just your Duskfield grenade. So if you want to build into like a damage resist build, that one would be very good. Again, how effective will it be? I don't know. But it does have a lot of synergy. Spirit of the Dragon and Synthos just for general use. So what I was thinking, because the current like melee based Combination Blow build is very good, but do you really need Caliban? So I was thinking Spirit of the Dragon, using your class ability reloads all weapons and increases weapon handling speeds for a brief time. So you run that because Combination Blow is always giving you your dodge back, so you'll pretty much have 100% uptime on Spirit of the Dragon. And then you either run Spirit of the Syntheseps or Spirit of the Liar to basically do what you do already with the melee build, but now your weapons are constantly being reloaded, and you have unreal handling speed. Like Dragon Shadow is just a super awesome exotic for handling speed. So yeah, that is one combination that I would be very interested in. And then Galanor and Star Eater is like the super... Like, if you want to build into your super, this is awesome. So hit some final blows with your super will return super energy after it ends. And then your super will deal more damage with Spirit of the Star Eater. So again, if we look at our supers, basically you're going to get super energy back from any of these. So it will work like Orpheus Rigs basically here. Silk Strike is already extremely strong. And now you could get super energy back on hits, and you get a ton of hits while in Silk Strike, and then it's dealing more damage with Star Eater. So if you just want to build into your Silk Strike super, this is going to be an awesome combination. So genuinely excited about that one if you want to build into like just getting your super all the time. Foe Tracer and Gerfalcon I have. So this one I think could be better than just Gerfalcons on its own. So Spirit of Foe Tracer, again, this is going to give you a ×4 weapon boost. And then Gerfalcon, your void weapons gain volatile rounds after you emerge from being invisible. So what you'd want to do is run a Smoke Bomb, which is going to weaken by 15%. And then if you're running, I think, do you have to run a Void Super? I don't think you even need to run Avoid Super. Damaging a powerful combatant with an ability, just any ability, grants you a temporary damage bonus for weapons matching that ability's element. So you run something like Wave Splitter or some good void weapon that you like. You throw a Snare Bomb, which is going to weaken them. It's going to make you invisible. Run Stylish Executioner. And then this is giving you 25% damage bonus, and you're getting volatile rounds. So that one, just straight up, could be better than the OG like Gerfalcon build. So very, very interested in that combination. That's Foe Tracer and Gerfalcon. Dragon and Coyote. So we've got using your class ability reloads all weapons. We talked about that one. And then this just gives you an additional class ability charge. So this would be really good for like a long DPS rotation. Dragon and Wormhusk just for like some dodge synergy. Again, I don't know if it's going to be great, but they both build around the dodge. So there's some synergy there. And then Inmost Light and Verity I did throw on here. So weapon final blows with a damage type matching your grenade, grant a stacking bonus. But I said only really run it with grapple grenade. So basically it's going to give you more grapple grenades and they're going to hit harder on the grapple melee. So yeah, that's the only one that I would really build around the grenade on a Prismatic Hunter for. Because again, I don't think these grenades are all that great. I mean, their utility, like Swarm, I think sucks. Duskfield has good utility, and then Grapple's fun as hell. I love Grapple. But yeah, again, that's just me. So now onto the last one, we have the Warlock. So the first one I have is Filaments and Starfire. And let me just go to my Warlock quickly so that I can show you the grenades and the melees that they have. And I've talked about in the past how crappy Warlock melees are, but we will get to that. So here's the grenades. So unfortunately, I mean, healing grenades are great, but we don't have like the juiced up fusion grenades like you do on Solar. But anyways, Filaments and Starfire. So casting an Empowering Rift will grant you Devour. And then, where's Starfire? Grenades recharge from empowered weapon damage with empowered weapon final blows, granting more energy. So basically, you cast a Rift, and then you're going to get more grenade recharge from Spirit of Starfire. But Devour is also being procced, and Devour gives huge chunks of grenade energy return as well. So if you just want to build straight around whatever grenade that you're running, then Spirit of Filaments and Spirit of Starfire will give you incredible grenade uptime. And then with Empowered Weapon Final Blows, granting more energy. Grenades recharge from Empowered Weapon damage with Empowered Weapon Final Blows. Oh yeah. So yeah, it works on damage or kills. I forgot, like it still does work on damage, but it was highly, highly nerfed. But kills is kind of the way you want to play it. So basically you cast an Empowering Rift and then you just slay out and then you're just chucking grenades as often as you get them and just keep standing in your Rift, and you're not going to have to worry. Like most people don't run Empowering Rift, but because you have Devour, you're going to be able to stay alive. So that one has some really good synergy. Assassin and Synthos or Claws. So I made that Fellwinter's Helm build, which I absolutely love. So this is Finisher's Empowered Melee Final Blows grant invisibility, and then Syntheseps, it's still that 165% when you're surrounded, which you're always surrounded with this melee. And then, what's the other option? Oh, or Claws, so you could just gain an additional melee charge. So I actually have that build on right now. So it's Arcane Needle, actually I don't have, and then it's Lightning Surge. So you're getting 3 Lightning Surges, and these are quite powerful, and then you're jolting everything. So with this combination, you'd be doing more damage if you had Syntheseps, and then you'd come out of it invisible when you get a finisher or powered melee final blow, and you're usually getting a final blow. So for me, I still prefer Fellwinter's Helm because it disorients all the enemies around you and it weakens them by 30%, which is way more powerful in my opinion. But you do you. If you get that combination, that same build is going to work very, very well with that exotic class item instead of Fellwinter's Helm. Inmost Light and Verity. So this is kind of a no-brainer. Just improves your all your ability recharges. And then Verity, basically weapon final blows with a damage type matching your grenade, grant a stack of damaging bonus. So Verity actually doesn't, in this one, it doesn't give you the big grenade uptime that straight up Verity's Brow does. But again, you're going to get more grenades still, just thanks to Inmost Light. But for me, I still think base Verity is just better, but there is some synergy there. This one is really, really cool. Apotheosis and Star Eater. So temporarily gain greatly increased melee and grenade regen after your super ends. And Spirit of the Star Eater, while your super energy is full, picking up an orb of power overcharges your super, granting it bonus damage. So what you could do, Nova Bomb got buffed. You could run Vortex grenades or Threadling grenades, but here's why I think you might want Vortex, because you could run Vortex. So you could throw out a Facet of Dominance Void Grenade, which weakens targets. You're running a Nova Bomb, which is now buffed by Star Eater. And then you run Expanding Abyss, so Void sources deal increased damage to weaken targets. So you weaken the enemy by 15%, but then Expanding Abyss is going to make Void sources deal 25%. So you're going to get a 25% damage bonus to your Nova Bomb. Your Nova Bomb is also going to hit way harder because of Star Eaters. And then when you come out of that Nova Bomb, you can then chuck your melees. So say you're running this, you're basically going to be able to spam your melees, which unravels the target. So before damage, you like chuck out all your melees, chuck out your grenade, throw your Nova Bomb. It's going to do huge damage. And then you get all these abilities back from Apotheosis. Because if we read that, temporarily gain greatly increased melee and grenade regen after your super ends. So specifically this season, with how strong Nova Bomb is, thanks to Expanding Abyss, this combination is going to be freaking crazy. So if you just want like huge super damage, Apotheosis and Star Eater is really, really good. So again, for like general play, like if I was in a solo GM, I don't love things that are built just around my super, because obviously you don't have your super up all the time, so I'd rather have things that help me like in every encounter or like every engagement. But if you were in a raid and you just need to burst down a boss, this is going to be freaking unreal. So very, very cool. That's one I'm actually excited for. Necrotic and Synthos is very interesting. Damaging a combatant with your melee poisons them. Defeating a poisoned enemy spreads the condition. Sorry, I don't know if I showed the picture of this one. But anyway, there's your combinations, just laid out a little nicer. So anyways, Necrotic and Synthos. So defeating a poison spreads the condition, melee poisons them. So I'm curious, I doubt it works, but does the poison damage scale with the improved melee damage when you're surrounded from Synthos? I'm not sure. And again, if you did get this combo, I would run it, just basically plug and play Fellwinter's Helm for this class item with that build. If you haven't seen that build, check it out. It's really strong. But yeah, if you're looking for a melee-based build on Warlock, this could be very, very interesting. Filaments and Harmony. So what do we have here? Casting an Empowering Rift will grant you Devour, and then Spirit of Harmony. Final blows with weapons that have a damage type matching your super's element grant you super energy. So again, the Empowering Rift is going to give you Devour and make your weapons hit harder. And then as you get weapon kills, you're getting greatly increased super energy. So again, there's just some decent synergy there. Filaments and Vesper is interesting, or Stag and Vesper. So either or, they're both based around casting your Rift. Spirit of the Stag, it doesn't have to be an Empowering Rift, but Filaments, it will give you Devour. So this gives you damage reduction, this gives you Devour, and then this, Rifts periodically release arc shockwaves. So yeah, again, just synergistic. I don't know how strong it is. And that's pretty much it. Those were the combinations out of all the pictures that I saw. So like all these things. Those are the ones that stood out the most to me. So again, you do you, but I just thought I'd make a video just talking about what I'd be looking for when I'm farming these new class items. They're very interesting. I thought you might be able to farm them in solo lost sectors. I know some of the community is disappointed that it's in a long ass mission. Like it took us around 35 to 40 minutes to beat it. But as we play it more, we're going to get more in tune with it. And the mission is very, very good. I love it. I think they did an awesome job. It's got cool mechanics, just very, very cool. But yeah, one question I have is there knockout protection? Because I already have like a couple combinations that I don't even care about. Because if it's just an RNG slot machine, like again, you have 64 combinations or whatever it is, 8 times 8. Maybe it's not quite that. I can't remember my permutations and combinations from freaking high school. But anyways, yeah, if it's just straight RNG, and you just keep getting the same ones over and over again, that's going to really make me not want to farm it, because running this that many times just to get the perks I want, and if there's no knockout protection or anything, then it's basically not worth your time. But if there is like a path to getting the combination you want by just knocking out the ones you don't want, that'd be a little more appealing, even though that is very, very grindy still. But yeah, like I said, a lot of these combinations I don't think are that great. There was like one combination on each one where I'm like genuinely excited. Like Foe Tracer and Gerfalcon I think would be awesome on Hunter. The which one was it? Apotheosis and Star Eater for super damage. Again, I talked about Nova Bomb, but that would also be absolutely unreal on Needlestorm. Needlestorm hits super hard, and then you could just chuck out a bunch of Threadlings after your damage. That would be very, very strong. Especially outside of this season when Expanding Abyss goes away. And then on the Titan, like I said, the point contact one is very interesting because it can work with any powered melee. But again, that's basically 1 out of 64 per class that I think would actually be legitimately better than just running an exotic class item. Or than just running the base exotic, I should say. So anyways, let me know down below what ones you're going after. Maybe I missed like an obvious pairing that you think is going to be really good. Or do you agree with me that in most cases, just running the base exotic is going to be better than running these exotic combinations? Because at the end of the day, they are kind of watered down versions. Verity's Brow is like one of the best exotics in the game if you're building around it with teammates. But the Spirit of Verity doesn't really give that same buff. Not to mention, you don't even get to pair it with the best grenades, which are the Touch of Flame fusion grenades on Solar. So yeah, when you look at all those things as a whole, then you can see why, yeah, even though these kind of look cool and strong on paper, when you actually pair them with the Prismatic subclass, they might start to fall off a little. But anyways, I'm going to stop talking now. I hope the video was helpful and informative. If it was, leave a like and subscription and all that. And if you're still watching, thanks for watching to the end. Take care.